been opened.
Yeah, it was mine.
What's missing? The turtles. Where are the
Summer
turtles?
sausage.
Where are the turtles?
Come on, guys, get out of here.
Where are the turtles? Where are they?
Excuse me, I haven't.
Michael Scott was right in asking, where are the turtles? To answer his question, the turtles are disappearing due to overharvesting for eggs, meats, and leather by humans. Pollution of waters are also adding to this threat. In 1973, laws were passed that said no person could harm or kill turtles, turtle nests, or eggs. Although these restrictions have been set, multiple species of turtles are still endangered or threatened. The scariest part is that there are one in hundreds of species who are currently threatened in the U.S.
Hi, my name is Rachel, and my partner Abby and I research threatened species in America. For some context, endangered species are defined by the ESA as any species which is in danger of extinction throughout all or a significant portion of its range, whereas the ESA defines threatened species as any species which is likely to become an endangered species within the foreseeable future. As Abby already mentioned, certain groups of turtles are threatened in the United States. Along with them, 164 threatened species exist in the U.S., including tigers, pandas, and certain whales, and another 415 are endangered. To begin our research, we asked a group of classmates to identify the species they thought were threatened out of a list we gave them. So let's cut to that footage.
Just check them? Yeah?
Yeah, just check the ones you think. Okay.
I'm sorry that all of these are threatened, because that would kind of suck.
That would kind of suck, wouldn't it?
Are all of these threatened?
No.
I don't know about that one. I don't think those are.
Okay.
I think those are.
Is that it?
I think so.
Okay. So check off which ones are threatened.
Okay. I don't even know what a krill is.
It's like a, yeah.
Okay. We're not guinea pigs. Alright, we're going.
I don't know. I hate Well, you didn't answer. Yeah. But it's almost over.
You think they all are?
Yeah.
Alright, good.
But I think he was part of the Okay, so like it also tells me like what is that and this one.
So, Sierra, can you please tell me which ones you think are threatened?
Of course, just for you.
Are humans an option?
No.
I think I'm not.
I'm trying to put in some
Oh, I see.
Wait, do you think IT figure is boring?
I'm gonna say that.
She's not.
Yes, go here. That's my answer.
Tell me the ones that you think are threatened.
Not sure. What's the difference between a gerbil and a guinea pig? Because we set up a gerbil fighting ring. I'm just kidding.
Think about.
No.
Thank you. Tell me what species you think are threatened.
Wait, so he emailed me saying I could exempt geometry. I sent to. Yeah, we have to pay attention.
On our list, we discussed many threatened species. The only species that was not threatened were the guinea pigs. The other threatened species includes polar bears, grizzly bears, African elephants, lions, the spotted seal, the black howler monkey, the gray wolf, green sea turtles, Nile crocodiles, the northern sea otter, the humpback whale, the Chinook salmon, the greenback cutthroat trout, leopards, and pandas. This bar graph shows groups of species where their population is either endangered, threatened, or doing well. As shown by the graph, many of the populations are vulnerable, which means that they can become endangered at any time. When they reach that stage, they are very close to becoming extinct. However, this is something that we can control.
In the booming economic growth of today, we as a society have forgotten to protect the species living among us, leaving them in conditions that damage their growth opportunities and lead them to endangerment. Multiple factors have been known to cause this, with the most commonly known ones being habitat loss, overhunting, and pollution. Overhunting is a serious threat of today, as humans see a species that is highly desired and continue to hunt it until it can no longer suffice and reproduce. One instance of this is the passenger pigeon, which was overhunted and then became extinct. This is also seen through the highly envied ivory tusks of the elephants, which has led them to be killed by poachers in high quantities. This has also led to plant endangerment. The golden seal plant is a very popular medical plant in the United States that has now become threatened due to overharvesting in the wild. Habitat loss has raised much discussion in current debates as well. Deforestation, agricultural spreading, mining, and human migration have all led to destroyed habitats, where species are driven out or killed in high amounts by machinery and a loss of homes. Pollution is another leading cause of threatened species. For instance, the peregrine falcon almost became extinct in Canada when DDT was widely used prior to becoming banned in the United States and Canada in 1971. Climate change is another main factor for the rising number of threatened species. Climate change is affected by the destruction of the environment and the pollution that is spreading. It directly affects the food chain. One of the main examples of this would be the krill. Many species of animals rely on krill, such as the emperor penguin. Krills are affected by climate change, and therefore, the animals that rely on this species are also affected. The emperor penguin, for example, is threatened because its main food source is diminishing. Climate change can also be seen in the Arctic areas, where polar bears, penguins, and many other species are losing their habitats due to melting ice caps. According to the Outrider Interactive website, more than 95% of life that has ever inhabited our planet is extinct. This shows the damage that has already affected the Earth. Many populations have already become extinct, and many more are on their way to extinction because they are threatened. Climate change greatly impacts the Earth and affects the species we inhabit it with. Many species have become extinct from factors that could not have been changed. But there are three main causes of threatened animal life each day that we can change. These causes are climate change, habitat destruction, and pollution. These threaten our species each day, but they can be prevented by taking the Earth and being resourceful.
The impact of the increasing levels of threatened species is much more than what appears on the surface. Animals and plants are each part of complex ecosystems which contain water bodies, different land masses, and other forms of life. The ecosystems they are a part of provide clean water and breathable air. For instance, through the process of photosynthesis, plants naturally release oxygen into the air, which most land species need to breathe. In the US today, there are over 80 threatened plant species and countless more endangered ones. This is an obvious impact on society, as a natural resource that thousands upon thousands of species rely on is being inhibited. John Paul II talked about the ecological crisis in his World Day of Peace message. In the very beginning of his message, he stated that there are injustices caused by a lack of due respect for nature, which means that we as humans are not respecting or caring for nature as we should because it is our duty. John Paul II also explains a Bible passage from Genesis, which expressed the need to keep God's creation good. With the number of threatened species in the world today, we need to better our protection for the environment and for the species that need our help. John Paul II also addresses the threatened species by describing the part of the ecological problem that is a lack of respect for life. The pollution and environmental destruction mentioned lead to the threatened species because they cannot survive in destroyed habitats. To fix these urgent ecological problems, John Paul recommends working in solidarity to create an organized and beneficial pattern of change. To assist our threatened species, we can take care of the environment by eliminating pollution from the water and land. Additionally, helping the land through planting trees, for example, can help create new habitats that our animals can live in.
In his encyclical, Pope Francis says that the Earth's resources are being plundered because of his short-sighted economic views. He says that the species that are being destroyed can be used in the future and should be protected. He goes on to say that we cannot just look at these species as resources to be exploited. Instead, we must see them as they have value in themselves. He says they will no longer give glory to God by their existence nor convey their message to us. He also writes his praises for some protection actions in saying, "Some countries have made significant progress in establishing sanctuaries on land and in the oceans where any human intervention is prohibited, which might modify their features or alter their original structures. He also voices his concern about the replacement of virgin forests by saying, "This can seriously compromise a biodiversity in which the new species being introduced do not accommodate." Although we have listed many problems that can lead to threatened species, there are also some solutions that can stop the growth and the crisis that is forming. We asked a classmate of ours to share one of his ideas on how to stop the spreading of threatened species in society. What is one way that could help stop threatened species in the issue?
We could stop deforestation.
Good.
He's not wrong. Stopping the deforestation crisis in America would help save the habitats of many species that are currently threatened due to a loss of their habitats. Some laws, however, help these threatened species. One of them being the Endangered Species Act of 1973, which protects the species that are endangered and threatened and aims to recover the habitats of these species. This organization also creates the list of threatened and endangered species. Other laws that work to protect our threatened species are the Interagency Policy for the Ecosystem Approach to the Endangered Species Act, Habitat Conservation Plans, and many more policies.